Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back. Today we're going to be expanding the campground and also accommodating the train track. First things first, this switch has got to go. So got to remove that module there because we're going to be changing the direction of that and it'll start back here. So we're going to have to modify some train modules. Also this 48 by 48 module here. And this one, which is 48 by 96. And then we're going to have to expand these here right out. So we're going to need 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 of the 16 by 16 Technic art panels. Okay, let's switch up this switch track. Gonna just bring it back there. But in order to do that, I've got to fix up a bunch of the underlying tile work just so it blends in nicely. I am using one of those ballast plates, so it's pretty easy to do at this point. And just like that, looking pretty good. Now it's time to move some modules up to the workstation here so we can continue working on this area. Now I'm going to rebuild our Technic foundation here using 14 additional 16 by 16 art panels. Going to build it the exact same way that you do the old school art. The stud art. And then once I have my large panel built, I can attach it using more pins and then mills plate it using 1x2 plates, 2x2 plates, just in any random colors that I found on the pad wall. When you lay down those little pieces on the 16 by 16 art panels, it really showcases the size of this new expansion for the campground. And then of course I've got to top all of that little underlaying mills work with the 4x4 plates. Would have much preferred to use 16 by 16s, but hey, may as well use all the random parts I have, right? Now that these are created, we're going to get ready to install them. Of course, we're going to need a bunch more of these lattice towers to do so. The original height of the lower section was 10 bricks or 1 lattice tower. And then up here where we had a single 16 by 16 Technic panel, it was 20 bricks tall or 2 lattice towers. Of course, I merged that into the large plate because it didn't really make any sense. And I do need to raise this up a bit because we need to have clearance for the train. And it just so happens that the clearance for the train is exactly how I envisioned it. So we have one of these lattice towers plus 4 bricks. And that is the height of the bridge. So clearance for the train. Okay, so train clearance, tunnel height, 1 lattice tower, 4 bricks. All the supports are going to be raised up 4 bricks for those 2 large Technic sections, and I'm also going to raise this up so that it matches that as well because, of course, that connects to it. Now, what's the convenient thing about raising this up 4 bricks? Well, now the height here is going to be the same as a rock panel. That's super convenient just for blending, and that sort of matches up over here, and the height of the towers match the bridge. Why does this math just keep working out? I don't know. It's almost like it's planned or something. It's going to be beauty. Now, I don't plan on blending it all in with rock panels because we're going to have like a mid-ground height. So, for example, you're going to see that it's going to go up here, and this is all going to be raised up. So I can definitely blend it in with more green hills. Somebody did mention they don't like the fact that I'm using so much dark bluish gray in here because it's more so like rock panels and cliff edges and stuff, and it should be more so like a green hill. The problem is when you blend it in using a green hill, you use a lot of brick, and you can't go up as quickly when you use green brick. It's more of like a hill slope. And when you do a hill slope, you run out of flat space for campers and tents and stuff like that. So that's why I went with cliffs on this one, whereas my other hill right over here is more so done with green brick, but you can see there's not a whole lot of flat spaces for campers, tents, etc. So that's why I decided to do it with cliff edges. So these large Technic panels aren't just going to sit on the supports there. We also have to build a new retaining wall, and I'm going to build this retaining wall very similar to how I built the other retaining walls, but those Technic panels are actually going to sit on top of it, so I got to make sure I get the math right. I've built a lot of these, but I've never really done a time lapse on any of them, I don't think. So I start with 2 layers of brick, and then I build up the supports that support the arches 6 studs apart, and then I put the 8 wide arches on top of those, and then I put some of the 4 tall arches. Are they 4 or 3? I can't remember, on top of those, and that's what actually supports the Technic panels. I'm using a combination of light bluish gray brick, that being just the standard stuff, like any size of 1x that I have, also some quarter bricks and some 2x bricks, and also the masonry brick, just sort of give it a nice texture. And I, of course, put some forward-facing studs in there so that we can attach vegetation as well. Install that massive panel, top the arches with brick and tile, and then add the vegetation detail. Just like that, we created another platform covering. The train track. It's coming too close to the retaining wall. I don't want to move it an entire track, because that would move it over 16 studs, and then it would be too close to these supports right there. Sorry, my floor is creaky. But I want to move it only half a track, which is 8 studs, or 2 4-stud flex tracks. But flex tracks get pretty bumpy, especially right before hitting a switch. Not ideal for quick-moving trains, even slow-moving trains. They could derail, and it just doesn't look as clean. So I have these. These are 8-stud track increments, and these are actually sent to me by Trix Bricks as a freebie with my order. They sent me 2. That's perfect for this scenario. I found them amongst my train track. And of course I used their ballast plates for the switch there, and I still need to ballast those curves. Now I built a tunnel not too long ago, and that design features an arch and the bending of Lego. And I'm thinking I can use something like this for the train tunnel entrance. I think that's going to look super cool. This one here isn't large enough, so it's not like I can just modify this one. And this one's already built for like a false tunnel for a road, so I may as well just build a new one from scratch. And you can see that's going to be like centered right there. I am standing in the worst spot. Like, this is the creakiest part of the floor. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think a design like that would be really neat. And if I can build it into the extension of the campground as well, so it fully supports the little extension there, and then eventually it's built into the rock wall right there, I think that would be super cool. It was relatively easy to move that switch track back, just sort of moved all the ballasting back 8 studs, and then I put that 8-stud extension in right there on that side, and right there on this side. Seamless. It looks beauty. I didn't finish the ties in here because I'm literally out of the 1x1 tiles. I guess I could go rob them from downstairs somewhere. I'll do that before the campground is done. Not my biggest concern right now. But yeah, now we've got this switch track, so the train can come that way and head toward a tunnel. I haven't ballasted that because, once again, I'm out of the 1x1 tiles. But yeah, I have to ballast that too, the curves. I've ballasted so many of them. I'm sort of bored of it, but you know what? It's all good. The tunnel. Okay, I took care of that as well. So if you've kept up with my videos recently, then you've seen 2 videos on this. The first one was me building the arch, sort of bending the bricks. And then the second one was building the box to give it more shape, adding the false back, and adding the road and all that. I essentially did the same thing here, but I made it a little bit taller, and I didn't make it as wide because the train is quite narrow compared to potentially 2 vehicles. And I didn't build the back of the box. You can see how this is the back of the box there. That's how I was able to create the false background. So I just put the arch within this box here, and it became 17 studs wide and 11 studs deep. And the front of it is a little bit different. I used 3 of the 1x2 modified plates, and then I topped it with these 16-cent tiles. Yeah, 16 cents each. And I held it in place the exact same way. If you want to see a full tutorial on how I did that, check out those videos. There's essentially a bar running through and snot bricks on the bottom. But yeah, I think this is going to service the train quite well. You also notice that I changed my extension from 48 studs to only 16 studs because this is going to go right there, and I built it to the precise height that it needs to be, so when I tack this down, I can put green plate on top and it'll be at the same height as this. So now we've just got to ballast more train track. Got to get out of that. More curves. That's all right. Maybe I should have just ordered the ballast plates. No, I know how to do those, and I probably have the parts to do them. And then once again, blend this in. This is probably going to be all blended in with green up here. And then I'm thinking down here, we're gonna blend this in with more rock panels and just rock work up to the tunnel. That's why I just made this boring gray. I didn't make that masonry. And I'm thinking we're gonna do like a 50-50 thing here. So it's like dark bluish gray rocks transitioning into the light bluish gray concrete. And this is just sort of plain Jane for now. But when we actually get the campsites up here, I'm sure we'll change that, maybe make it look a little more natural, maybe even add masonry along here rather than just a plain brick. But I've got to see what that looks like when we place it in the city too, because there's going to be the other tall platform covering right there. You have to bridge the gap because that's where the residential is, right? So yeah, it'll be interesting when we actually get around to placing these modules. I almost want to do a test fit because this campsite's looking pretty big. I don't know if it's bigger than my old campsite, like in the basement, but I think it looks better because there's more like dynamics to it. There's more like angles and different heights and everything, which I'm really happy about. I think that works out nicely. Look at that huge expansion there. Yeah, that's a huge expansion for the campground. And the retaining wall, I think, looks pretty excellent as well. I like the way that we were able to hide those Technic panels in there and leave an open spot for the train tunnel. Similar to what I did with the residential area there, right? Sort of like a raised area with Lego rather than wood. Beauty. More rock work. Woohoo! That's all right. I enjoy it. Just takes a little bit of time and a ton of parts, that's for sure. So tomorrow's actually May 1st, so of course it's Star Wars Day. I want to see what's going down tonight in, geez, an hour and 50 minutes. Okay, in an hour and 50 minutes. It's already 8:10. Wow. Where did that day go? Okay, I got to go home and edit this video, watch Survivor with my wife, check out Star Wars Day, and then go to the Lego store bright and early tomorrow. And then we've got some live streams and stuff planned for this week. So I'm not sure when I'm going to get back working on this, to be quite honest with you. Also, May 2nd is my anniversary. So my wife and I were going to work here all day. And then we're going to go to Thunderbolts. So that's exciting stuff. But May 2nd, we should be able to work on that. I hope. Yeah. So when Mrs. Bricksy's here, we can ballast the train track together. Yes, it'll go twice as fast and also do the green, dark bluish gray rock work because we should have enough pieces to do that right away. But I was thinking about doing it tonight, but I was like, I should probably go home and do this voiceover and, and all that. All right. Yeah, we did some other stuff today. The lights here, we changed the lights and I made a plan. And I've just been doing some stuff with my iPhone and I made a little vlog at Costco as well. If you haven't checked out my other channel, make sure you check it out. It's known as Bricksie Vlogs. Recently renamed it and I'm having some fun with that channel as well. But yeah, changed the lights here. They're not as bright. I hope it looks good in the camera. Hey, thank you so much for coming on by. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you stay tuned. Please remember to like, subscribe, and have yourselves a great day. Bye for now.